How long will you actually tolerate a specific person or a specific situation? This is the Kristen Ann Show, New York licensed social worker and board certified life coach. I just want to help you explore different ways to think. Thanks so much for tuning in. On this episode, we're going to talk about toleration that we have to specific people and also situations in our life. So I've been jumping around from topic to topic, in my own head of what I want to talk about next. And I always go with what screams to me in my head in the moment or the day before. So this one is really screaming to me to talk about for some reason, and I'm not sure why. And hopefully it speaks to you in some way or shape or form. So our toleration to certain situations or people. And the question that I was asking before was, how long are we going to actually allow these certain situations or people to keep on happening? For example, if I let my dad's situation, my relationship with my dad, keep on continuing now in my life, I think I would be in a very, very different spot. I definitely wouldn't be doing this podcast. I probably would not be in a very good mental space. And honestly, my marriage probably wouldn't have lasted. And we just got married a couple of months ago. So again, my question is, how long will you let a situation go on for? So again, going back to my dad, I made the choice of saying, I can't do this song and dance anymore and going back and forth and trying to figure it out. Will this relationship work out? Am I doing my best? Is it really me? All of those things. So I made a choice that I was no longer going to tolerate that relationship. And I really want you guys, whoever is listening, to really think about any situation or any person in your life that you're just tolerating right now. And I'm sure that you have somebody in your head or a situation in your head right now that you're thinking about. And I really want you to hold on to that person or that situation and really feel into it and take a moment. I just want you to keep on thinking about it. I really just want you to feel into that person or situation that popped into your head. Because when I work with my clients or with anybody in my life, I always want them to get that knee-jerk gut response reaction because that's the one that we're feeling. And because usually that's the voice inside of us that we don't really listen to, and I really want you to start to listen to it. So that person or situation that you're thinking about right now, I really want you to see, and I know it's going to be hard to try to figure out right now, but I really want you to think about it of, why am I letting this happen? Why am I tolerating this still? If this is something that's not making me happy or making you happy, why are we still doing it? And I also want you to think about something. And here's another question. When did we say, or when did we start the toleration of this is what I deserve? I deserve this type of treatment. I deserve this situation. I deserve this person the way that they're acting towards me. When did we decide that? And I want you to really think about it. I know for me, I think I made that choice up a long time ago. I want to assume probably in my childhood of, the relationship with my dad, this is how relationships are. So I made the choice, okay, so this is how all relationships are. And obviously that's not the way that it is, because the relationship between my father and I was very toxic because he was a very toxic human being. There was a time in your life when you made the choice of, okay, I'm going to tolerate this. Or you made the choice of, I'm not going to tolerate this. And I really want you to think back of when you actually made that choice, because we all have made choices in all areas of our life from childhood up until now at this point. And again, I know it might be hard because you're I really don't know when I made the choice to tolerate this specific person or situation, or when did all of it start for us? When did it really start for us to say, yes, I deserve how this person is treating me because X, Y, and Z. So I really want you to think about this And I really think that this episode can go on for like hours and hours. And Lord, I'm not going to do that to you, or to myself. But it starts the conversation of, when did I say I'm going to allow this? And am I going to continually let this person or situation or place or thing, whatever, still go on? So about probably a year ago, and there was multiple times that I made a decision to say, I am no longer going to tolerate my father's behavior anymore. But I kept on going back and forth because I missed him and he's my father, and I was fantasizing about a relationship that actually wasn't really there. So that's why I kept on going back and forth. Because for me and him, I was fantasizing about the person that he used to be, not concentrating on the person that he is in this very present time right now. So I would go back and forth, and finally, and I really can't, I have to sit down just like you guys are, and I really have to think back what specific time when I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this anymore. Because there were so many times when I would say to myself, I'm not doing this anymore. Then I would go back again. So I would say it was probably a year ago when I remember my sisters, they called me. I forgot which one it was. It was either my older one or my middle one. And to let me know that he was having a heart attack. It was a heart attack at what we thought at that time. Fast forward, it was not a heart attack. It actually was a panic attack that landed him in the hospital, and actually in the psych unit of a hospital. Because again, my friends, as I said in another episode, if you never deal with any trauma in your life, especially probably back in childhood or even adulthood, or whenever it had happened to you, it will come back up again. So I was not surprised by any of this. So this happened. He was in a psych hospital for, I forgot how long it was, but there was a lot of back and forth. And at that time when I saw him, I haven't had seen him in maybe a couple of years. I believe it was a long time. So it was like a shock to me and my body and my system, my mind, that I was seeing him, and he was having like a full-blown panic attack. And it was just a very dramatic situation. And I started to get sick, like physically, with my stomach. I've always had issues with my stomach. For me, and I think that I speak to a lot of people, my anxiety is tied to my stomach. So if I feel anxiety, I legitimately like have to run to the bathroom, like instantly. So I've always had that issue, but it amplified after this whole situation. And one day, yes, one day I will actually get into the whole detail of that story. I don't want to veer off the path of what I'm talking about right now. So it was then in that moment when I said, yeah, it's either my mental health and my physical health, or this fake fantasizing relationship that I have with him. I just have to let it go. So I made the decision to say, I am no longer going to tolerate this relationship anymore. I also knew that if I kept on having this relationship with my dad, this very toxic, unhealthy relationships, that I will then tolerate other relationships that I knew I did not deserve. And I knew I tolerated a lot of relationships that I knew I didn't deserve before I met my husband, and even after I met my husband. There was a lot of relationships that I knew I needed to let go, that it took me a long time to let go. And of course, I do tie it back to the relationship that I have had or do have with my dad, because I tolerate relationships that I feel like I do more and that person does less. So I figured that I can either stay on that track of like half-ass relationships, or I can actually say, I don't think this relationship is going to work out for me or even for us. And I know I'm not going to be the best person I know I can be to that person or that relationship anymore. So it's time for me to kind of like walk away. What exactly can you do if you feel like you're tolerating a relationship you no longer want to tolerate anymore? Well, the good news is you actually can do something about it, because you have a choice. There's a big power in the fact that we all have choices that we can make. We actually just have to make the choice. So the first thing that you have to do is actually identify that person or situation that you're tolerating in this very second and figure out if it's better for you to either walk away from it or make it better. Meaning the open communication part of, you know what, this is the way that I feel, and I know if I talk to that person, I feel like they will be able to receive it. Or the other way of, yeah, I know that I can't speak to this person because they're extremely toxic, extremely unhealthy. I think it's time for me to kind of walk away. So that's the first thing, is identifying that person or situation in your life. The second thing is really asking yourself if you really do want to change it. And give yourself some grace with this, because you might keep on going back and forth, and that's okay. Because we are all human. We are not robots. We are not robots. I know sometimes, I have to be very honest, I wish sometimes I was a robot, because I feel like I do have so many feelings towards so many things that it can be a little too much. Like, it just can be just a little too much. It's a lot. It's a lot being a sensitive, emotional human being. Even though that I am like that, I'm pretty much regulated. I don't feel like I get upset very easily, even though sometimes, like, I do have feelings and I can be very sensitive, but I really want you guys to figure out, and I want you to take your time with this after the podcast, after listening to me, of maybe just closing your eyes and pen to paper, trying to figure out when it first started for you, when you decided that you will tolerate shitty behavior from somebody or a situation. Because if we don't get to the root of when it started, it's just going to keep on happening. Thanks so much for tuning in on this episode of How Long Will You Tolerate This For? Bye, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the episode, please like, share, follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud. Also, come follow me on Instagram, _Kristen_Ann88. And if you're ready to take the next step because you fucking deserve it, come take a look at my website on Instagram,